I'd like to welcome you all to our Thursday interest group session with Tori Goldhammer, and we'll be covering general nutrition for wellness and fall risk management today. I'm going to read our disclaimer before we get started. The WildTech DC Senior iPad program, its owners and presenters offer technical information, assistance, virtual health, well-being information designed for educational purposes only. You should not rely on any information or any applications or topics made by WildTech, including but not limited to mobile device applications and any social media pages maintained by WildTech, its owners or presenters as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or legal advice. Thank you so much for letting me read the disclaimer. And again, today we have Tori Goldhammer talking about general nutrition for wellness and fall risk management. So again, Tori, if you could introduce yourself and what you'll be covering today, we would really appreciate that. And thanks so much for coming on to our session.
Sure. Thank you, Alex. So hi, everybody, again. It's so good to be here. This is my favorite day of the month always, so I appreciate you letting me be here. The blurred background is funny, isn't it? So today I thought that the last class we talked about starting with some seated exercises. So I have a video that I thought we could start with. It's about 10 minutes long, and then we will jump into the nutrition topic. And normally, as you know, I like to have this a very interactive session, and I still want that to happen. But because there's some very specific things about nutrition that I want to make sure we talk about, I have a few slides to share with you first. So when we're done with the exercise, I'd like to just go over some of the slides that I have for you, and then we'll open it up to conversation. So I think it'll be like maybe a half an hour of just like video and me chatting, and then we'll open it up to questions, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, Alex, there's one part of the slides where there's actually like an online quiz that I want to do. And I was thinking about the best way to have that be interactive. And so my thought was that for each question, maybe like one person, people can raise their hands and one person can answer that question, and then somebody different can answer the next. Does that make sense to you?
Oh yeah, no, that's a great way
Okay.
to do so. Like you have the question on the screen, and then you'll just hear from other folks on what their responses would be and why, or things of that nature, right?
Well, it's actually, when we get there, you'll see, but it's actually a quiz that has like right or wrong answers. So I thought maybe the audience could give me the answer to that particular question. But we'll figure it out when we get there.
Oh yeah. Thank you for that.
Okay.
I'll be sure we can do that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So the video I picked for us today, I'm always going to pick seated exercises because I can't be there with you to see how you're doing. And I certainly don't want you to fall during the exercises. So it's a seated exercise. And this is from Silver Sneakers, which is a great program actually funded by covered by Medicare, I should say, not funded, covered by Medicare in most circumstances, but they have free classes on YouTube as well. So they're well thought out classes of all sort of skill levels. So this one is on lower body strengthening. And I think it could be a little rigorous. So what I'm going to caution you, as always, pay attention to your body. If something is not feeling good, if it's feeling too hard, if you're feeling pain or out of breath, anything like that, don't do it, or figure out a way to do it a little bit easier. I can't see you, so you please take care of yourselves and do what you can that feels comfortable to you, okay? So as long as that's good, let me go ahead and share my video with you. Zoom did update, didn't it? Interesting. Okay.
So you have some blocks on your screen, Tori. When you okay, so they're gone. I'm not sure when you're in Zoom, if you hit the optimize for video clip option when you do, but sometimes those black blocks can appear on the screen. But no, you're good.
Okay.
But it's only at the top, so you're good to go for now.
Okay. All right. All right. Is everybody ready? Everybody sitting down and comfortable? Good. All right, I'm going to start it. It's going to start right away.
Seated in a supportive chair, heel march right and left. Lifting heel, right and left. Staying with this variation or change to a knee left. Right and left. We are seated nice and tall. Middle to edge of chair. Sit bones connected. Breath steady and strong. Our first movement, both heels lift up for 3. 3, 2, 1, and lower down. Feet about hip distance apart. Let's follow with some arms. 3, 2, 1, and lower. Heels lift nice and high. 2 more times through. 3, 2, 1, and lower. 2 more times. 3, 2, once more. Heel digs forward, right and left. Heel digs. So right, now left. Extending that leg out as far as you can, pressing the heel down, toes pulling back. Let's add an opposite arm reach. Forward, pull back. 8 more. Few more. 2 more times. Right knee lift, and then extend the foot out. So lift, press, in and down. Left side. You've got it. Belly is strong. Shoulders back and down. Control the movements. We have a few more. Lift, press, in and down. You're doing amazing. How about 4 more? Let's count down together. 4. 3 more. Oh, our last 2 for now. 1 more time. Right heel extend forward to the floor. You might want to move a little bit more forward onto the chair, shoulders back and down. Hands on hips, maybe hold the chair. We'll add some arm movements in a moment. We're gonna lift the heel off the floor and then lower back down. Lift and lower, up and down. There's a slight bend to your knee. Let's add a lateral raise to the arms. Lift and down. 4 more. 4, 3, 2, step your right foot back. Out, out, 2 heel lifts. In, toes lift. Let's go. Heels up. Step in. Toes up. Step wide. Heels for 2. Step center. Toes for 2. Let's do it again. Step wide. Heels up. We'll add some arms in a moment. Toes. Step wide. Heels. Step center. Toes. Add a shoulder roll. Heels up. Center. Toes up. Step wide. Heels. Center. Toes. Let's do 2 more times through. Step wide. Heels. Center. Toes. Step wide. Heels. Step center. All right, our 6th movement. Make sure you are towards the front of the chair. Sit bones connected. Feet come close together. Right knee opens to the side. Slide your foot closer. Imagine there's a string just wrapped around your ankle. We're gonna lift and lower. Sit up nice and tall. Here we go. Lift and down. Your knee stays open to the side. Good work. Feeling warmer? We have 4 more together. 4, 3, 2. Take your stance to hip distance apart. Heel march left and right. Left and right. A good time to check in with your posture, check in with your breathing. Grab a drink of water if you want. You can stay with the heel march or make this a knee lift. Left and right. Left and right. Few more. Going back to our first movement. 3 heel lifts. 3, 2, 1, and down. 3, 2, same arm movement. Lift the heels. 3, 2, 1, and lower. Lift those heels nice and tall. Good work. Just a few more. Make these ones your best. Pull, 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 and lower. 2 more times. Next movement, heel digs forward, left and right. Add the arm reach if you want. Extend the leg out, and then pull back strong. Good. We have 8 more of these, 8 more. Can you make it a little bit bigger, a little more exaggerated? 4 more. And then we add knee lift, extend, in and down. We start on the left side. Lift, press, in and down. You remember this, right? We've got it. Lift, press, in and down. Is that belly locked on too? Good work. Lift, press, in and down. Let's do this 4 more times through. 3 more. 2 more times. Last one. Extend the left leg forward, heel to the floor. Shoulders back and down, belly engaged. Lift the heel off the floor. Lift and lower. Let's add a lateral raise. 4, 3, 2. Step your left foot back. Out, out, heels. In, toes. Left foot begins. Out, out, heels, up, in, toes, up. Again, out, out, heels, heels, in, toes. Let's add a shoulder roll. Shoulder shrug. Step in. Toes. Let's do it again. Out, out, heels, heels, in, toes, toes. Good. A few more times through. We've got it. One more time through. Again, make sure you're towards the front of the seat. Sit bones connected. Feet close together. Knee opens to the side. Left side this time. Imagine that string around the ankle. Sitting tall. We're gonna lift and lower. Lift and lower. So your knee drops to the side. Lifting through the inside of the foot. You've got it. Let's count down together. 4 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower your foot, take the knee in, take your stance about hip distance apart. Heel march right and left. Right and left. Make this a knee lift if you want. Knee lift. Right and left. Right and left. Great work today. We certainly feel that work in our lower body. We are warm, we are energized. And I can't wait to exercise together on Silver Sneakers Live. Heel march if you want, heel march.
Okay, I don't know about you guys, but I'm warm now. All right.
Thank you for the video, Tori. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like it because if you here's the link to it. So, feel free if you liked it to do it on your own.
Oh,
Nope.
Mr. Harold,
Beat
Tori's
you.
already one step ahead of you.
I beat you, Mr. Harold.
Again, there are many other YouTube videos too. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube that you can take advantage of. We actually just did seated exercises and a meditation with one of our guests last week as well. So I appreciate that you wanted to start with that.
Yeah, yeah, and it was based on everybody's feedback. So as long as you're okay, I'll keep trying to find some additional ones. But definitely feel free to trust Silver Sneakers. Their videos are good. And then there's the other one, exercises with Meredith, I believe. I'll do one of hers next time, so you remember those because hers are really good as well. But yeah, if this felt good to you, feel free to do this one on your own. Um, And one thing I do really like about this particular video, we've talked about this in the past, about how important it is to keep your ankle range of motion really as much range of motion as you can maintain, is what I'm trying to say, as flexible as you can be. So where she was doing like the heel lifts and the toe lifts and all that stuff, it's really, really good for your ankle. So please try to do those things. Ms. Thompson?
Oh, did you want folks, if they wanted to share their reactions or responses to the video, did you want to do them
We could. We have till 3 o'clock, right?
We have 2:30, 2:35-ish.
Okay, we'll take a couple. Let's do a
Yes,
couple.
you, but thank you, Ms. Thompson. Did you just want to share your thoughts in the video?
I thought the video was very good, except I had a stroke. And I could only do the left side on certain things. I'm doing pretty good though. And with my right hand, I can't lift the book so high. I wanted to know if you knew of any YouTube or anyone you had that could work with people who had strokes. It's a lot of people on here, on our wild chat, who have strokes and who need something different.
Okay.
But the video was good.
Thank you, Ms. Brenda. That's a great question. So I have two thoughts in response to that. One, I will certainly look to see what's out there. I haven't searched for that, so that's a really good question. I'll make myself a note for that. But my second response is to still please try it. So when I was working in the clinics, we would always tell people, even if your arm is not actually moving, the thought, like you thinking about moving your arm, is actually very helpful. So it may be, I totally can appreciate the fact that it would be frustrating because you're thinking, I'm moving my right arm and it's actually not moving. But you're still communicating along a neural pathway to that extremity. And you are, in fact, doing something just by doing that. So don't be discouraged, even if that limb is not moving the way you hope it to be. Communicating along those neural pathways is important. So please, don't be discouraged by the ones that you can't do. Still try to imagine that you're doing it. And you might see some effect, you may not, but it's certainly not bad. But I will additionally look for ones for people who have had strokes though.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson, for sharing that. Did you want to do another hand, Tori?
Sure, let's do one more and then we'll move on to the nutrition, then we'll have plenty of time to chat.
Thank you. Hi, Ms. Lawson, how are you? Did you want to share your reaction on Tori's video?
Oh, yes, I have a question. Just today, I was thinking about contacting my doctor and see if there was a therapist that give me some exercises, because 6 months ago, I fell backwards in a sitting position and got a compression fracture. But the surgeon said that since I wasn't having pain, they weren't going to do the kyphoplasty, which I didn't want another surgery anyway, because I'd had a stem cell transplant earlier that year. So anyway, the exercise I used to do before this happened, I never had trouble with my back. Sit-ups and squats and bicycle type things and a lot of walking. So I stopped doing the sit-ups. And some of these exercises seem like some that I might be able to do, because I notice my stomach is gaining weight. So I'm not doing my sit-ups every day, because I think he said L12 or something like that. And I'm blessed that I fell in a sitting position and didn't fall straight and get a concussion or anything like that, or fall into the television. But it's sort of slowing me down a bit. And these exercises, would they be on YouTube on the site?
Miss Lawson, we
Wow, Tech.
linked to the chat. So I know you left the meeting. I'm not sure if it's your connection, but I just re-put the link in the chat for you. That particular video is in the chat. So if you tap on the link, it'll take you straight to that video.
Thank you very much. Excellent program. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I would also add to that yes, I think any exercise, number one, any exercise you do is better than none, right? We've had that discussion, but with the seated exercises, if you really focus on your posture and you really think about your abdominals, even though you're not doing the crunches that you used to do, if you're really focusing on maintaining your posture, particularly while you're moving your legs, right? Because a lot of times it's easy. I'm going to exaggerate this because I know you're not doing this, but if I'm lifting my knee, it's kind of easy to go like that, right? And that's not doing anything for your leg or anything else. But if you really focus on keeping your abdominals, like just focus on keeping them strong, and then you can isolate the other muscles, you'll still get a really good ab workout. And even when you're walking, think about doing some what they call isometric contractions of your muscles, and that's where you're not doing the active movement, but you're still thinking about activating those muscles while you're walking, while you're doing the dishes, while you're brushing your teeth, any of those things. Think about your glute muscles, your buttock muscles, and your ab muscles while you're standing, and you'll get great effect even without having to do the more the more vigorous sort of exercises that you might. All right. All right, great questions. I'm so glad we can have these conversations. Okay, so I'm going to share a PowerPoint with you. Wait, before I do, I'm going to tell you why I'm so excited to talk about nutrition. So when I was deciding about what I wanted to be when I grew up, first it was going to be a veterinarian, but that fell through. So then I was trying to figure out what I wanted to be. I really was seriously considering between becoming a nutritionist and a therapist, and because I just find nutrition so fascinating and its effect on our overall health and wellness. And I opted for becoming an OT because I just felt like it was more holistic and more whole body, but I've always maintained my interest in nutrition. So I follow people that I feel like have a lot of information to share that's evidence-based. I think it's very, very important. I'm going to share those resources with you because there is so much information out there now about nutrition and about people trying to sell supplements and sell this and sell that. And you have to be very cautious of what they're saying. So I'm sharing with you today resources of people that I think are being very critical of the evidence and hopefully helpful and educational as well. So with that, I'm going to share my slides. And this is going to be like 10, 15-minute chat. And then we'll get to questions. All right. Everybody see that?
Yeah, Tori, I think it's the same thing. You have that.
It's the same thing?
Can you unshare your screen really quick?
Yeah. Okay.
And then when you hit share, do you see
Mhm.
on the right it says optimize for
Yeah,
video?
got
So
it.
make sure that is off. So
Got it.
I don't really use that feature when it does typically actually does a little more harm than good sometimes. Like
Okay.
black boxes appear. So I typically don't use that. Your screen, yeah, it was really fuzzy. The video wasn't particularly fuzzy, but this
Okay.
slide was. But yes, you could we see your PowerPoint.
Okay.
And wild tech is one word. It's one word together.
Okay. I'll fix that. Okay, thanks. All
No
right.
problem.
So I do have a little disclaimer only because I do want to emphasize, as in the beginning, and as I always do, I'm not a doctor. So please, before you make any changes, particularly taking supplements or anything like that, please contact your doctor, your provider first. Okay, it's very important. But we can have a good general discussion about nutrition though. So I'm going to share, I think what I'll do is when we start chatting, I'm going to copy all these links and put them in the chat for you guys, okay? And then I can also send this PDF to you, Alex, so you can copy them later if you like. But the USDA is kind of where I started because you might all be familiar from a long time ago. They're the governmental agency that did the food pyramid. So they're very involved in nutrition and diet. And so this first slide just gives you some information about all the different nutrition programs that are available through the federal government. And what this really means is that this is funding that's then funneled down to the states to provide you things like Meals on Wheels or those sorts of things, the wellness centers, things like that. Anyway, there's a whole list of of just information about the federal initiatives to help with nutrition programs for older adults. So this is what this page is. It's just a kind of a factual page. But from the USDA, they have actually really updated the food pyramid. So if you're not familiar, they've done this quite a while ago. I want to say 25 years ago, at least, if not longer. They changed the food pyramid to a plate. Because based on feedback that people were not understanding, like really like how to portion out what the food pyramid meant. So if you can see in the upper left-hand corner, there's a picture of a plate, and I'll have that bigger for you in another slide to show you what that means. But it's just to show you the idea of like on your plate, what portion should be veggies, what portion should be fruits, et cetera, et cetera. But this is a great website. I encourage you to take a look at it on your own later on. And again, I will share all these links. But I feel confident that this from the USDA is relatively evidence-based and non-biased. So it's a good place to start.
Tori, we've also covered the Start Simple with My Plate app a lot in the past as well.
Okay.
So I love this resource. I've talked, it's really useful. So
it is really useful. Yeah. Oh, so you might have already done the test then, because the test is on here, but we'll see. Okay.
yeah. In the past, that was their main focus. So thank you so much for sharing that again.
Yeah. Another really good one is the Mayo Clinic. So the Mayo Clinic has a nutrition and healthy eating site, as you can see here. Whenever I'm looking things up online, I generally rely on Mayo Clinic or the Cleveland Clinic or the National Institutes of Health, where I know I'm getting like really valid evidence-based information. And what's nice about this Mayo site, if you can see along their bar at the top where it says, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but basics, and then it says in-depth and expert answers, things like that. It's really nice because like the in-depth, there's all kinds of information specifically on blood sugar or on saturated fats or anything else like that. The expert answers are people calling in or writing in questions that are very specific that were answered by their experts. So there's a ton of really good information on this site as well. So I got some information from here. And then the last one is this gentleman that I just found, his podcasts. So he, unlike what I was just telling you, he's not like part of one of the government agencies or anything or an institution. He's an individual. So I will, that's a disclaimer for sure. But I've been listening to his podcast and he cites the studies of everything that he talks about in his notes. So everything he talks about can be referenced back to an academic paper that has been reviewed. So I feel pretty confident that he's being objective and non-biased in his opinions. I have found his podcast super informative and really helpful, and they're only 30 minutes and you can get to them from his website. So I just wanted to share that with you as well. This is his podcast website. So that's the link to it. Again, I'll share all this with you and you can just scroll through and see if there's any interesting topics that you wanted to learn a little bit more about from a nutritionist perspective.
His name was Adrian Chavez, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
it's on the Apple Podcast app. His whole show is on there, you all. We've covered the podcast app, so that's another way to access the podcast. His most recent one was 3 days ago.
Yes. Yeah, he's really, really, really quite good. And one of the things that, well, I find it kind of funny. I'm afraid he's actually going to get sued because one of the things he does is he debunks the people who are trying to sell you things. So he kind of reviews things that are out like in popular culture right now to like really try to give you like the objective information about that stuff. Okay. So I did want to say that he did have one particular podcast where he talked a little bit about older adults, and these are the few things I picked up out of what he said. And this was already, I mean, this is pretty common knowledge in some ways as well. So I trust that what he said was accurate here. But so as we get older, after the age of 60, our resting metabolic rate slows down. So basically what that just means is your metabolism slows, right? We all knew that, right? But his recommendation for that is just to slightly reduce your calorie intake. And if you've already done the My Plate thing, then you probably have already figured out what your calorie consumption should be. And we'll go over that. Now, he did really emphasize, you know, if you put on a little bit of weight as you get older, it's not a big deal. A couple, 5 pounds is 10 pounds over your lifetime is not huge. Certainly you don't want to lose weight. You don't want to become underweight because that can be a concern as we get older as well. But just, maintaining a healthy weight, just being aware that what we ate at 30, right, is we're not going to burn it off the same way at 60 and 70 that we used to burn it off at 30. So just being mindful of that. The other thing he mentioned is that protein utilization slows down. So what does that mean? That means that it takes a little bit longer for our bodies to absorb protein. So if we don't, if it's moving through us too quickly and we didn't get a chance to absorb it, we need just a little bit more protein as we get older. Does that make sense? So our body's not absorbing it quickly enough. It's just moving through the digestive tract, and we're not getting all the protein that we used to get out of the same amount of food. So he suggested just slightly increasing the amount of protein that you consume. And that's really important. We talked about sarcopenia on one of our classes, but protein is very important for our muscle mass, right? So we want to make sure that we're maintaining our protein intake to maintain our muscle mass and our strength. Additionally, eating more protein actually makes you feel more full. And so therefore, it also can go hand in hand with slightly reducing your calorie intake because eating proteins will keep you full for longer. And the last thing he said, our micronutrient absorption is slightly impaired due to the reduced stomach acid and just due to, again, getting older. What that means is we're not absorbing vitamins and minerals at the same rate that we used to. Now, this is something definitely please talk to your physicians about. You can ask your physician for a metabolic panel where you can see what your vitamin levels are, and then work with them to figure out if you are low on anything. But just be mindful that maybe we're not absorbing as much of the micronutrients, those being vitamins and minerals, as we used to. This is from the USDA site. I'm not going to read this all, obviously, but specifically for 16 older, again, they are suggesting that first thing there where it says eat seafood, dairy, fortified soy alternatives, that's eating more protein. So they also suggest to eat more protein. Of course, adding fruits and veggies, they're all going to say that, and I don't think that's a surprise to you, right? Making meals enjoyable. They also mention absorbing vitamin B12. This is another vitamin that we don't absorb as well as we get older. And there's some medications that we might be taking that might be affecting it as well. So just paying attention if you're eating foods that are fortified with B12, and again, talk to your doctor if there's any concern, because lack of B12 can be very dangerous, actually. So you want to make sure that you know what your B12 levels are. Typically, if you're eating a diet of meats and veggies and things, you'll be fine. It's the vegetarian and particularly vegan diets that are of concern for B12 for sure. It's because it's readily available in animal products, meats, I should say. Again, they also, as I said, they emphasize if you're thinking about dietary supplements, talk to your provider. It's super important. Super important they know what you're taking already and what you're thinking about taking. Okay, so this is the quiz. And did you guys do this quiz, Alex? The older adult nutrition quiz?
Hey, Courtney.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Did you guys already do the nutrition quiz?
Are you talking about my plate?
Yeah.
Or this? That depends. We didn't do it together. We overviewed the My Plate app, but
Okay.
yeah,
All
but
right.
that was a while ago. So
Okay. All right. So we're gonna do this quiz. I'm gonna share a different screen with you guys now. And so what I'm thinking, so there's 10 questions. So I'm thinking like I'll ask a question and then you guys raise your hand, and if this works out, okay, Alex, like you pick one person for the first question, another person for the second question. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, just raise your hand if you would like to participate.
Okay. So I'm going to, and if you don't want to answer, if nobody raises their hand, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Everybody see that?
Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay. Well, I already did this one already, but protein is important for older adults because these are your choices. It helps maintain muscle mass and keep body strong. It supports the immune system. It helps blood carry oxygen around the body, or all of the above. Who wants to answer that one?
Okay, so Mr. Gary, what do you think the answer is? Gotta hit unmute in the middle, please. Mr. Gary, are you there? You gotta hit unmute in the middle. Okay, if I see you're able to unmute, you can then answer a question. Gracie, what do you think the answer is?
All of the above.
All right, let's see.
Let's see.
Yep.
Good job, Gracie.
Eating enough eating enough protein can help prevent the loss of muscle mass that occurs
Yeah.
naturally with age. Yep. Protein also supports the immune system and helps blood carry oxygen around the body. So there's that component of iron as well in your red blood cells. All right, nice job. Let's go to the next
Oh
one.
yeah, Mr. Harold said we're gonna get all, or y'all are gonna get all the answers right.
I'm sure you will. But this one's interesting though. All of the foods below are good sources of protein except chicken, beef, and fish, beans, peas, and lentils, milk, yogurt, and cheese, butter, cream cheese, and sour cream. So which of those four are not a good source of protein?
Okay, and what do you think?
Think the last one, buttercream, cheese, and sour cream.
All right, let's see.
Good job,
Yeah,
man.
they're
Thanks
not a
for
good
that.
source. Food that include everything else, dairy products, including, so yeah, they're just saying they're not a good source. You know, it's interesting because they are, of course, dairy products, right? But it's because they've been so processed. And also, yeah, they're just not as healthy for you as the other ones. Alrighty, true or false? Eating a wide variety of foods that are good sources of protein can help provide more of the nutrients your body needs.
Who would like to answer? Again, we're gonna make sure we hear from someone new each and every time. Brenda, Ms. Thompson, what is your answer?
True.
Yeah, I figured that one was easy, right?
Job.
But many Americans, no matter your age, can improve their dietary pattern and better meet nutrient needs by choosing from a wide variety of protein sources. This is really important. You want to like really try to, variety is really important in nutrition in general, but try including seafood, chicken, eggs, and lean meats at meals and snacks throughout the week. And or use beans, peas, and lentils in mixed dishes such as soups, rice, or pasta dishes. I actually heard, I think it might have been that gentleman, Dr. Chavez, or somebody else was talking today about like making hamburger or making like meatloaf or those sort of things with chopped meat and substituting some lentils for the meat, because then you get a little bit of that plant protein and a little bit less of the saturated fat. So like think about being creative with using beans because they actually can be a great supplement. Okay, true or false? In addition to protein, milk provides important nutrients such as calcium and vitamin D. I know you're all gonna get this one right. I'm not even sure.
Who would like to answer? Okay, Gracie, what is your answer?
True.
Yeah, we've all been told that since we were kids, right?
Good job, Gracie.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna read that because you all know that one, right? But you know, you can also use other types of soy beverages or the lactose-free version. So, you know, if dairy is not good for you, there are, as you know, there are so many options, which is kind of nice. Okay, there was a couple that I got tricked on, so they might get harder. Okay, B12 is important because it helps your body make red blood cells. It helps your body stay hydrated. It helps your body prevent sunburns, all of the above.
That's a good one.
Mhm.
What? Yeah, okay, Miss Wilda, thank you so much for volunteering. What do you think the answer is?
Red blood cells.
Red blood cells. All right, let's see. Yes.
What? Good job, Wilda. I know that's right.
So this is why I told you B12 is very important to keep your nerves healthy and for other important functions. It is an extraordinarily important vitamin. So if you are not eating a lot of meat or a lot of animal products, you might want to talk to your doctor about checking your B12 vitamin levels just to be sure. We don't need a lot of it if you were choosing to supplement. It's actually not a lot, but it's not worth supplementing with it if your levels are fine. Just have them checked. Oh, well, here we go again. Okay. B12 can be a nutritive concern for some adults because the ability to absorb vitamin B12 can decrease with age. Older adults don't eat enough vegetables. B12 tastes terrible to older adults, or none of the above.
What do you all think the answer is? And please raise your hand if you would like to share. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Harold. Appreciate that. What do you think the answer is?
I didn't want to share. However, I believe the answer to be the ability to absorb vitamin B12 can decrease with age.
I believe you are right, Mr. Harold.
Good job, Mr. Harold. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Surely.
Yep. So again, talk to your doctor, talk to your provider, because it's a serious one to be lacking in. Oh, here we go. This is so serious that we have a third question. All foods below are good sources of vitamin B12 except eggs, fortified breakfast cereals, canned tuna, or apples. So which one of those is not a good source of B12?
Okay, and what do you think?
I think the fortified breakfast cereal.
No, it turns out it's the
Wow.
apple. But I was confused about that too. So it's the apples that is not a good source.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, they actually they fortify breakfast cereals. Not that I'm advocating breakfast cereals, because sometimes they have other other things that you don't want, but they fortify them with a lot of vitamins. So it's just, unfortunately, you can't find B12 in vegetables or fruit. So you absolutely need to find it either in animal products or with some sort of other supplementation. Now, a lot of times the plant protein milks, like all those soy milks and almond milks and stuff, many of them add B12. So you can generally get them there as well. Let's see if there's another B12 one. No, okay. True or false? Many adults do not drink enough fluids throughout the day.
We learned this on Tuesday, you all.
I know you all know that because I've talked about it too.
Ms. Thompson, what is your answer?
True.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've talked about that, right? We've talked about how important that is for so many things, and particularly with regards to fall prevention, right? So drink your
We
fluid.
learned that 75% of Americans are underhydrated, just in general.
Wow,
It's
I
really
believe
insane.
it. Yeah, it's really bad. Yep, it had such bad consequences. It does.
Hmm?
Okay, true or false? Fruits and vegetables can help older adults stay hydrated.
We also learned about this. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Holmes, what is your answer? And welcome to the group. You got to hit unmute in the middle, okay? Okay, there you go, Ms.
Okay.
Holmes. What is your
True.
answer?
True.
True.
Yep. Okay, true. Let's see. Yes. So
Yes.
that's good
Wow.
news, right? I guess you guys already talked about it. So the water that's in fruits and vegetables and all that can help. So I think that for so long, a lot of us were taught that it was water that we had to drink, like it or not, you got to drink water. And it seems like that there's more flexibility in that now. So you can drink or you can obtain your hydration in other ways that are maybe more pleasant if you're not a big fan of water.
Thank you, Ms. Holmes, for participating.
Welcome.
Mhm.
Factors to consider when planning and preparing meals for older adults may include preparing the foods so that they're easy to chew and swallow, avoiding certain foods due to allergies, disabilities, and medications, following proper food safety procedures, or all of the above.
Okay, Ms. Brenda Hill, what is your answer?
All above.
All of the above. Yes.
Good
Yeah.
job. Thank you, Sue.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, thanks for participating with that. I thought that was a good way to just, sort of continue the conversation. So I have a few more things on the PowerPoint to share, and then we'll start chatting. 1 second. All right. So this is from the same USDA site. So just to reemphasize, make eating fun, drink plenty of liquids, add a touch of spice. I'm surprised that this is the first place this came up. I don't know if you guys have had this conversation, but we've already talked about how things change as we get older, right? Like, our vision changes, our hearing changes, our sense of balance changes. All of our senses sort of change as we get older, as well as our sense of taste. And so there's some thought in the literature that also contributes to a decrease in appetite because food doesn't taste the way it used to taste. A lot of the people I've worked with have increased spices as they've gotten older, like actually enjoy spicy food now. And I'm not saying, we do have to be careful of adding salt and sugar, of course, to our diets, but like really exploring herbs and other kind of spices that can, enhance the flavor of the food for you. Making the most of your food choices. There's another quiz which I think we can go through. But when you're every bite you take, think about it. Is this a good choice for me? Maybe not every bite. You have to enjoy life, but here and there, be mindful of it. Be mindful that you're getting everything you need, and keep your food safe, right? So this is the plate. You've already done this, right? So you can see. Now, one thing I'd like to emphasize in here, and even if you've had this before, I'm going to emphasize it again. You should be eating more vegetables than fruits because fruits have sugar, right? So really, the vegetables should outweigh the fruits a little bit, as you can see by the proportion in this plate. So focus more on more servings of vegetables than fruits, but certainly enjoy your fruits as well. If you have a problem with diabetes or blood sugar, talk to your doctor about fruit consumption because it may be very individual to you. But in general, really try to focus on vegetables. Interestingly enough, Mayo still has the pyramid, and they have fruits and vegetables at an equal amount on their pyramid. So that was kind of interesting to me. But again, fruits and vegetables, you guys all know this. The sweets are there, but they're at the top and kind of small, right? So this is, are you making every bite count? I think I'm going to skip this, but you can do this on your own. So it's just really interesting. Like it goes through choices that you can make and how healthy is that particular choice. But I'll let you do that on your own.
I also put the link to the app in the chat. So this actual quiz can be found inside of the app that you can do, and it'll be with your account as well.
Great. So you already went through the My Plate plan, so that's great. That tells you how many calories you should be consuming to maintain your current weight. Okay, I wanted to go now, as I mentioned, this Adrian Chavez he has got a ton of podcasts that I thought were super interesting. And I know that a lot of us are dealing with blood pressure issues. So I just wanted to highlight this one in particular because I thought it was kind of interesting. And listen to it because I learned a bunch from this website. This podcast in particular. So if you have any concerns about your blood pressure, you're just interested, it's a good one. But from a nutrition perspective, what he suggested and what the literature suggests are some of these nutrition things to consider. So the DASH diet, which I'm going to share that with you in a moment. I'm guessing a lot of you have heard about that from your providers. That's a very common one. It's a well-researched diet that's had really good outcomes for blood pressure concerns. You've probably heard culture, in the news over the years, Mediterranean and Nordic diets. That's because they eat a lot of olive oils, a lot of legumes, a lot of vegetables and fruits and seafood. That's been very good for blood pressure. Increasing potassium, again, please don't do this without talking to your doctor, but that's been shown to be helpful for blood pressure. And plant-based diets have also been shown to be helpful for blood pressure. So those are just some things to consider, and listen to the podcast for some more information about that. But the DASH diet is kind of like the gold standard, I do believe, that providers share, and this is from the Mayo Clinic. So as you can see there, it's foods that are rich in potassium, calcium, magnesium, fiber, and protein, low in fat and low in salt. I'm sure it's not a surprise to any of you. but there's a ton of information about this particular diet on that Mayo site. So I just wanted to recommend that to you. And I believe that, yep, that's the end of the PowerPoint. So I know that was a lot of information, like really, I think the key to it all, pay attention to your protein, pay attention to your salt intake, your sugar intake, eat lots and lots of veggies, eat a good amount of fruit, and enjoy a little bit of sweets and stay active. So let me open it up to, I know there was a bunch of raised hands before, right? Or there's the stuff in the chat. So let me know if there's anything I need to address in the chat.
Well, again, thank you so much for your presentation, Tori. I learned a lot, especially about B12, the purpose of that. I never really knew. I should have known myself, but hey, you learn one day, and things of that nature. I love that. I love all the recommendations in those sites. And you said you had a PDF, correct?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. Yeah, I'm also going to put the.
You can actually put it in. Are you able to put it in the chat? You could
Oh,
do
I
that,
haven't.
right?
Yeah, no, actually, I could do that. I haven't made it into a PDF yet, but I will.
Oh, okay.
But I will.
Okay.
I will. It'll take me 2 seconds. In the meantime, I'm going to put the links from the sites right now in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you notice in the chat, if you notice that third little icon at the bottom, it's the file icon. So you can add that
Oh, okay.
file into the chat.
Okay. I will do that.
But in the meantime, if you have a question or if you have a comment, just maybe one thing that you learned today or something that stuck out to you, or any comments or reactions to Tori's presentation today, please raise your hand in Zoom, and make sure afterwards you stay on to complete our poll to let us know how you felt about today's session. But any words for Tori about what she covered, anything that stuck out, while she puts all the links into the chat? But thank you so much for coming on. We definitely learned a lot today.
Yeah. Oh, everybody's quiet.
Thank you, Gracie, for sharing. Again, any thoughts or comments for Tori?
Yes. You were saying how you go to the Mayo Clinic, the Cleveland Clinic, and all of those for advice.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for years. Whenever I'm diagnosed with something, I look up the medication, the side effects, that may not show on the prescription. And I kind of look up foods that will help with the condition. I'm always trying to match my diet with helping the condition that I'm suffering from. So what you're saying is very helpful, and it makes me know that I'm on the right path.
Oh, good.
Thank you so much.
Of course. There, I just uploaded the PDF. Yeah, I find both of them, it's so hard because that's the beauty and the challenge of the internet is that there's so much information out there. And I know, I'm sure you guys have had conversations that you have to be a careful consumer of it, but I always feel pretty confident with Mayo and Cleveland Clinic for objective advice. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gracie. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Mr. Harold said, thank you, Tori. Excellent session. Thank you for coming on, Mr. Harold, as always. Appreciate that. Thank you for the PDF, Tori. If you tap on the PDF into in the chat on your iPads, it will pull up the presentation that Tori just did. And then that way you can then access it later on. When you open the PDF, you will see, I'll actually be able to show you all, just so that way we know how to, we've never actually had someone send a PDF in the chat before, Tori. So,
Okay.
So this is something good to show. So again, when you are in Zoom and someone send we know how to save a photo, but for a document, you are going to go to the chat, and then you notice the PDF that Tori shared. You tap on it. It takes you to the PDF, which is again the presentation that Tori shared. And if you want to save it for later, you hit the 3 dots at the top right of your screen. And when you hit those 3 dots, you notice it says open with other app. You tap on that section, and then you notice that you can save it to files. You see save to files, it will be in your files app. You can even put the PDF, you can email it to yourself. You can put in your notes and some of the other options here as well. But if I hit save files, I can then, it saves to my files app, which you all should see on your first screen of your iPad, the files app. Okay. So that's how you save a file, but it's really cool that you can do that in Zoom. So you tap the PDF, you hit the three dots, you hit open with other app, and then you can save it to your files app or mail it to yourself or put in notes, some of the other options on the screen. So I hope that helps out. But thank you so much for putting that PDF together, Tori. That was, it's wonderful information. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I didn't know you could do PDFs to Zoom either, so I learned that today.
Yeah, I appreciate that very, very much. We have two more hands for so far. Miss Carolyn, hi, how are you? It's been a while.
I'm blessed. Miss
Mhm.
Tori, I really appreciate your presentation today. It was off the chain.
Oh, thank you.
I do have a question though. How good are plant-based foods? Are they better than regular foods or what? Because I'm seeing a lot of people talking about plant-based, and I don't really understand the difference. I know it's a difference in the taste, but I just, as far as nutritional value, is it better?
That's a good question. So first, I'm going to refer you either to the Mayo Clinic. Would I put that thing there? They have information about it there. And also, if you're interested, he has a whole podcast about plant things. But I'll speak from experience. I have been a vegetarian since 1994, maybe. I don't know, a long time. Which is also partly how I got so interested in nutrition, because I wanted, because you can be people, you, me, anybody can be what's called a lazy vegetarian, and I could eat spaghetti all day long and be a vegetarian, right? So I wanted to be mindful that I wasn't doing that. So plant-based just basically means that you're not eating any animal products for the most part. You can be anything from like being a vegetarian where you eat like maybe dairy and eggs, to what's called a pescatarian where you eat fish, or a vegan where you eat absolutely no animal products at all. So there's kind of a range of plant-based diets, right? Are they healthier? You know what? I think that the research says it depends. It depends how healthy you are in the choices you make. I think you can eat a diet that includes lean meats, with a variety of vegetables and fruits and grains, and be healthier than a vegetarian who only eats spaghetti. So I really think rather than like being concerned if one is healthier than the other is, what are your food preferences? If you feel like not eating meat would be very difficult for you, then I wouldn't advocate for that. I would just say when you're eating meat or when you're eating animal products, be thoughtful about the choices you're making. You're not getting, fried foods or extra fatty meats, things like that, but the leaner ones. But please also consult all of that on the Mayo Clinic has a lot of good information about that, as does his podcast. And I would also caution, there's certainly this huge influx now of plant-based, fake meats. And they're delicious, let me tell you. I grew up eating meat, so they're actually quite delicious. But that being said, they're full of sodium and they're full of other stuff. So I wouldn't say they're healthier by any stretch. It's kind of like a once in a while treat for me because I don't necessarily think they're that healthy. Did that answer your question?
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Thank you, Miss Carolyn. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Mr. Diss.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Harold. I know I love the way that you kind of explained it because it could be really confusing, vegan, vegetarian, because so I love the way that you explain. And yes, there are a lot of those like fake meat products, and they are meant to kind of mimic the flavor, but because of that, there has to be some additives, as you said. So I really appreciate you being sharing that information. Next up is Anne. Again, any question or comment for Tori for today?
Thank you, Tori. I like the way that you go over stuff and nutrition. Sometimes we remember things that we've learned before, and sometimes we forget certain things. And I just found out that I thought somebody was just full of crap, excuse my expression, but they kept telling me they were allergic to vegetables. And I thought, who is allergic to vegetables? And I found out that one of my godchildren is Violet, she's been getting sick, and she's allergic to string beans and greens. And I'm like, oh my God, if
Oh,
they tell me I can't eat greens or string beans, I'm gonna be really in trouble.
oh, poor thing.
So I thought I'd put a little levity into it.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, yeah, that would be sad. Yeah, you never know. Allergies are bizarre how they develop and
They're
who's allergic to
strange
what.
people, aren't they?
They are.
Strange.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand them. What, yeah, but thank you for sharing.
Uh, well, thank you for reminding us of some of the good things that we should be eating and looking at as we get older. I know potassium is and iron are really critical for us older folks with breaking bones and stuff. I just found out I have an overabundance of calcium, and I did not know that. So,
Wow, thank you for sharing. That's why it's really important to have, you know, the labs and the metabolic studies done so that you're not making things worse, right? You know, or assume if you're missing something.
and
Um,
I'm like Gracie. I'm trying to find try to keep the diets that don't run my sugar crazy,
Mhm.
and I try to be in moderation.
Moderation is really the key to a lot of things in life, right? I mean, that really is the thing, you know. And one thing I heard a nutritionist say, I've heard several nutritionists say this because I said I'm like I'm a nerd about this stuff, so I take a lot of classes, but more than one has always said just eat whole foods, right? So what does that mean? You don't have to go to the store because that's expensive, but it means like eat food, like eat the apple and not drink apple juice, you know, eat the corn and don't eat, you know, something cornmeal that's been processed, like eat the actual food that things are made out of. And if you do that,
Mm-hmm,
it really
mm-hmm.
can't go wrong if you're eating
Yeah,
the whole food itself.
you're
Yeah.
right. You're really right. But thank you for reminding us. And those chair exercises, as you can tell, I'm kind of short of breath. I was doing some of that, and my asthma started acting up, and I'm saying, okay, so that really is working stuff.
Yeah, you can't discount those chair exercises. They can work you out. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I'm glad
So
you're
thank you
mindful.
for that. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Thank you, Anne, so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too.
Mhm. And our last hand up for today is Miss Lawson again. Hello, how are you doing? Any comments for Miss Tori?
Oh, yes, excellent program, but I just want to reiterate again, since it's getting warm weather, and especially since a lot of us are seniors, dehydration is a killer because my mom and my brother-in-law, when they became in their late 70s, 80s, you know, going to the hospital for different things. And I remember both doctors, Michigan and West Virginia, saying, when seniors present for whatever, an overwhelming majority of them are dehydrated. And dehydration can kill you, cause heart attacks and every type of thing. People are tired, they wonder why they're tired. Because you could go for a long, long time not eating, but you have to have water. And plus, I'm always confused at people. Some people I know who take their medicine with coffee and soda and orange juice. And I know grapefruit juice is bad for high blood pressure medicine. So I'm always saying, just take your medicine with water. Then you don't have to think about the interactions and mixing things like that, you know. But some people have gotten in a habit of taking their medicines with any kind of liquid. And I just have a problem with that. It may not be that harmful, but when you have a chance to get some water, take it with your pills at least.
Yeah.
But it was an excellent program, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Lawson. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for emphasizing the hydration. I think we can't overemphasize that. You're right. It's so important. It's so important for so many things. It's for your organs, for the flow of your blood, for your cognition, for your balance, for everything. Everything is affected by dehydration. So it's very, very important.
Yeah, I'm too talking about beverages and hydration, Tori. So one of the videos, I think that was quite astounding. If you go on YouTube and you watch a TED Ed video, it's like, what happens if I don't drink water? And that was quite telling. And check it out. It was really quite an interesting
I
video.
will. I will. Yeah, I will. Definitely.
As summer is getting hot, it's like that hydration portion that just, is so important. So I really appreciate Miss Lawson for bringing that up.
Yeah, and do you remember, I know you want to go, Alex, but do you remember, I just want to make sure everybody remembers that I told you that there was that Sunrise Assisted Living Facility on Connecticut Avenue. They did that experiment where they encouraged the people in the building to drink more. I don't know if it was water particularly, but to drink more. And they saw a 73% decrease in the number of falls over a 12-month span. So significant decrease in falls from staying hydrated. So just keep that in mind.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for coming on to our session, Tori. It was, again, so informational. I love everyone participating, and we got 9 out of 10. We still got an A, y'all. So for the quiz, and it was, I just love the discussion and the information and the way that she presented everything. We really do really appreciate that. Are there any other final thoughts or any main takeaways for your session today? A word of advice for our seniors on the call today?
Oh, no, I think I said it, just be, as I think what I'll always say at the end of every session now going forward is just be mindful, right? Be mindful of what you're eating, be mindful of your body, be mindful of how you're feeling. Really seems to be the key to a lot of this.
Well, again, thank you so much. Let's all say goodbye to Miss Tori. But again, please make sure you stay on for the poll at the end. Thank you so much, Tori, and you have a wonderful
Thank
rest.
you. Nice
See
seeing
you next
everybody.
Thank you, Tori.
Thank you, Miss
Bye.
Tori.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, Miss
Bye.
Tori. Have a good day.
Bye.
See you next time.
See you next time. See you in June.
Appreciate it. See you in June, Tori.
All right. Bye.
Good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye.